Hi, welcome to What's That Origin, where we will be discussing the origin stories of characters or ideas from movies, shows, and books. And if you find yourself liking these videos, then please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share links to your social medias. Let's get started. Hi, so today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite movies. This one is Hercules from 1997. We're going to be talking about Hades. And if you've ever seen the film, Hades is a very memorable character. He's played by James Woods, and honestly, I can't really picture anyone else playing him. He just makes the movie so, I don't know. In the film, Hades is the villain, and the way he's the villain is just a whole comedy skit throughout the whole thing. So yeah, he's after the throne of Olympus, and the Fates, who are the ones who control when pretty much people die, tell him that he'll be stopped by a young hero named Hercules, and it'll be Zeus's son. So Hades plots he plots, and he gets his two minions, Pain and Panic, to go into the Olympus palace, I guess, and steal little baby Hercules from Zeus and his mom, Hera. In another video, we'll be going into Hercules, but comes time to try to kill him, Hercules takes the two minions, Pain and Panic, and he throws them around like rag dolls. As Hercules gets older, Hades starts planning more plots to try to take over Olympus and to try to kill Hercules. And with every single one, Hercules wins the fight. And the movie winds up ending with Hades falling into the river Styx, which is where all the souls go, all the lost souls. And even though I would have to say Megara is probably my favorite character from the film, Hades is a pretty good second. Throughout the whole film, he's sarcastic. He makes like quick jokes, and yeah. And one of the weird things, could just be me, but so Hades isn't supposed to know about Hercules being alive until Hercules is already an adult. And then there's an old TV series, a cartoon TV series that is Hercules, like the film Hercules, but Hercules is a teenager, and Hades is trying to kill him in that too. So, but just the timeline, I just thought it was funny. But anyway, so we're going to be going into how Hades actually is not a villain. He's actually a pretty decent guy in his origin story. Hades is the oldest son of Cronus and Rhea. They are titans who ruled Olympus before the Olympian gods. And Kronos, his father, was given a prophecy that one day one of his children was going to overthrow him and take the throne. So not wanting to take any chances, Kronos, every time a child was born, he ate them. He ate his children. Hades was the first child out of 5 children that would be eaten. Rhea, who is his mom, was tired of her husband eating all of her children. So the 6th child that they had, Zeus, would be hidden away, and Rhea gave Kronos instead a large rock to eat. And how the myth goes is that all of his children in his stomach are still alive, and they're growing. So I can't imagine one day seeing a rock come sliding down. You know, Hades is stuck in his father's gut, and one day Zeus, when he's old enough, he comes back to kill his father. And just like how the how the prophecy went. And so when he hits Kronos, Kronos regurgitates his children that he had eaten in reverse order, Hades being the last one to come back up. And so they defeat Kronos, and all is well with the Olympians. The Titans are, well, most of the Titans, they are punished. Some are locked away in the underworld. One called Atlas, where we get the map, the Atlas. He's left to hold up the earth or the sky. And then the Olympians have to figure out how to divide the world. Now, one would think that where Hades was the oldest, that he would automatically get Olympus, but that's not how that went. Instead, they drew lots, and so what happened was Zeus, the youngest, wound up getting Olympus. Poseidon, I believe he's the second oldest, got the ocean, and then Hades got the leftovers. He got the underworld. And so he became the king of the underworld, but this is not to be confused with, he's not the god of death. That is another god called Thanatos. So Hades doesn't control, like when people die, but he does make judgment calls on souls. And so anyway, so like I said, he's not really a he's not really a bad character, a bad guy. And but yeah, so he can judge the souls, but he also doesn't he doesn't ferry the souls down into the underworld either. That is the job of Hermes, the messenger god, and Charon runs the ferry boat to the underworld. But he's one of, very few gods or mortals that can freely go through the world and the underworld. There is a story where he could be considered a villain, but it's not really his fault, where he meets his wife Persephone, who is the daughter of Demeter and Zeus. Demeter is another one of their sisters. And there's a lot of incest when it comes to mythology, but it's with all mythology, no matter if it's ancient Egypt or Norse. It's just how it works. So Persephone is the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, and Zeus, the king of the gods. And the myths have a lot of different versions, so I've seen at least 2 versions. One of the more popular ones is that Persephone dedicated herself, pledged herself to the goddess Artemis of the moon, who is also the goddess of unmarried women. So Persephone had decided that she was never going to marry, and the goddess of love, Aphrodite, took this as an insult because Persephone was really pretty, and Aphrodite was saying, no, you're too pretty, you should marry. So Aphrodite makes a plot where with her, in some versions, he's her son with Eros, who is also Cupid, to shoot an arrow at Hades, to where Hades would come and take Persephone away and force her to marry him. And so in that myth, Persephone is picking flowers in a field, and Hades, with his helm of invisibility, which is just a helmet and it makes him invisible, and his chariot, they burst through a fissure in the ground, and he snatches her, brings her back to the underworld to marry her. And then in another version that I have read, I'm seeing it more often now, is where Hades actually asks Zeus for permission first to marry Persephone, and Zeus gives the permission. Either way, Demeter, she kind of gets really depressed when her daughter's taken, and we're going to go into her in another video. but she pretty much almost destroys the planet very slowly until she gets her daughter back. And then Persephone winds up eating a piece of fruit, a pomegranate seed, in the underworld, to where basically the lowdown is she's just spent half the year with Hades in the underworld and the other half with her mother, and that's how you get the seasons. But yeah, so Hades isn't really a bad guy because he got tricked into... He either got tricked into marrying her or he was given permission. So either way, he's not really a bad guy. He's not really a villain. And to prove even more that Hades isn't really a bad guy, he actually does have empathy and compassion for people. In the myth of Orpheus, where Orpheus gets married to this beautiful woman named Eurydice. My pronunciation's probably off, but when Orpheus gets married to this woman, on the day of their wedding, she's dancing to his music and is bitten by a poisonous snake and dies. And so her soul is sent to the underworld. And instead of just letting her be dead, Orpheus travels to the underworld. He comes across Cerberus, who is Hades' three-headed dog. He plays the lullaby, goes to sleep. Orpheus manages to get all the way to the throne room of Hades and Persephone, and he begs Hades for his wife's soul back, and he plays his lyre, or his lyre, for the god and goddess, the king and queen of the underworld. And Persephone takes pity on Orpheus and asks Hades to accept the request to bring this man's wife back. And Hades agrees, but he does tell Orpheus that he'll give him his wife's soul back, but he needs to walk out of the underworld and not look back, not even once, to see if his wife is still behind him. Otherwise, he's gonna lose her forever. So Orpheus starts making his way out of the underworld, but he has like a nagging feeling that his wife isn't going to return with him. So he winds up looking behind him, and then she's sucked back into the underworld. But that's not Hades' fault. That was Orpheus' fault. But yeah, so Hades isn't really a bad guy at all. And because he looked behind him, he was not allowed re-entry back into the underworld. So his wife was lost to him forever. And so yeah, I'd like to hear what other people think of this version of Hades. He's a much more nicer guy than the film Hades, the film of Hercules, the childhood film. So yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, and have a great day.